The Bay Area's busy streets and bustling commerce, a hidden danger quietly stirs, largely unnoticed by the millions who call this region home. This isn't the sudden, violent jolt of a classic California quake that everyone fears. It's a slow, relentless force, a subtle shift happening over decades. The conquered Green Valley Fault System, snaking its way through the East Bay, is proving to be more active and complex than we ever realized, presenting new challenges for understanding seismic risk. It's subtly moving the ground beneath East Bay homes millimeter by millimeter, day by day, year after year, causing unseen stress. New USGS findings reveal a powerful force reshaping the land, a geological process constantly at work beneath our feet. This force is acting right under densely populated neighborhoods like Concord and Walnut Creek, areas where families live and communities thrive. Imagine your house sitting atop a conveyor belt, a geological conveyor belt, that is. It's so slow you can't feel it in your daily life, but it's strong enough to crack concrete, shift sidewalks, and twist foundations over time. Scientists have now mapped a previously unknown strand of the fault, revealing a more intricate network than previously understood. This newly discovered strand cuts directly through densely populated areas, increasing the potential impact on homes and infrastructure. This discovery redraws hazard maps and forces a recalculation of risk assessments, demanding a reassessment of building codes and emergency preparedness plans. It's forcing us to confront a vulnerability we didn't know we had, prompting a need for greater awareness and proactive measures. The conquered fault's slow, steady movement, known as fault creep, a phenomenon that's both fascinating and concerning. This gradual movement has lulled many into a false sense of security, making it easy to forget the underlying geological forces at play. But this creep is a warning, a subtle reminder of the immense power contained within the Earth. While it may release some tension, preventing smaller quakes, it also signals a fault system that's locked in certain areas, accumulating stress, loaded with the potential energy of a coiled spring. This stored energy could eventually be released in a major earthquake, causing widespread damage and disruption. The comfort of daily life, the routines and rhythms of our communities, can easily mask the powerful geologic processes unfolding just below the surface, a constant reminder of nature's power. The Conquered Fault isn't just a line on a map, a mere abstraction on a geological survey. It's a real, present threat that demands our attention and preparedness. It's time to pay attention to the quiet giant beneath our feet, to understand the risks, and to take steps to protect ourselves and our communities. What exactly is a fault? Let's delve into the Earth's structure to understand this geological phenomenon. Think of the Earth's crust as a giant jigsaw puzzle, composed of massive tectonic plates that are constantly, albeit slowly, moving across the planet's surface. These plates are in perpetual motion, driven by forces deep within the Earth. Where these colossal plates meet, they don't always glide smoothly. Instead, they often grind against each other, pull apart from one another, or slide horizontally past each other in a transform motion, creating what we know as faults. These are essentially fractures in the Earth's crust where movement occurs. Now, when friction becomes too great, it can lock these plates together, preventing their natural movement. As the plates remain locked, immense stress gradually builds up over extended periods, sometimes spanning years or even centuries. Eventually, the accumulated stress exceeds the strength of the rocks, and the fault finally snaps, releasing a tremendous amount of energy in the form of seismic waves, causing an earthquake. But it's important to remember that not all faults behave in the same way. Their characteristics and behaviors can vary significantly. Some faults, like the Conquered Fault, exhibit a phenomenon known as fault creep. This fault creep is characterized by a slow, steady, and continuous slide, often just millimeters per year. The movement is so gradual that you can't feel it directly, but over extended periods, it manifests in visible ways, bending train tracks, cracking building foundations, and warping streets and sidewalks. Fault creep presents a geological paradox. On one hand, it might release some of the accumulated stress, potentially reducing the risk of a large earthquake in the immediate area. But it also means that deeper sections of the fault could remain locked and are silently accumulating strain, increasing the potential for a future rupture. The visible cracks and offsets we see on the surface are just the superficial symptoms of the immense geological forces at play far below the surface. For communities that are built directly on or near creeping faults, it represents a slow-motion disaster unfolding over time. It's a situation of ongoing property damage, with continuous structural damage and persistent cracks appearing in buildings and infrastructure. More importantly, the creeping section of a fault is often interconnected with a larger, locked section of the fault system, which is capable of generating a major and potentially devastating earthquake. Therefore, the slow and steady movement of fault creep should be viewed as a warning sign, rather than a source of reassurance. The real and substantial danger lies much deeper underground, in the area where the fault is currently stuck and where geological stress is relentlessly building up. The creep we observe is merely a symptom of a much larger problem, while the locked fault represents the underlying disease. Understanding this crucial distinction is absolutely key to accurately grasping the true extent of the earthquake risk. The USGS recently used cutting-edge technology to remap the Concord Fault, and what they found was alarming. High-resolution aerial imagery and LiDAR revealed the fault is moving faster than previously thought, about 4 to 5 millimeters per year. This means stress is building up more quickly, potentially shortening the timeline to the next major earthquake. Most startling was the discovery of a new active fault segment, the Madigan Avenue strand cutting through residential Concord. This strand wasn't on old maps or in building codes, but it runs for miles under homes, streets, and even near schools. The new map fundamentally changes the region's risk assessment, placing thousands more properties in the hazard zone. The Alquist-Priolo earthquake fault zone will need to be redrawn, affecting property values, insurance, and retrofitting requirements. For residents, this is more than an academic update, it's a wake-up call. The ground has shifted, both literally and figuratively. The community must now reckon with a newly revealed and more intimate threat. Madigan Avenue in Concord looks like any suburban street until you notice the cracks. Here, the newly identified fault strand is visibly at work. Curbs are offset, sidewalks buckled, and driveways sheared. These aren't random cracks, they form a distinct, linear pattern tracing the fault's path. Homeowners face persistent problems: cracked foundations, misaligned doorways, and tilting floors. Repairs are temporary, the earth keeps moving, undoing their efforts. For scientists, these features are crucial data points, allowing them to measure the fault's creep with precision. For residents, it's a costly, constant reminder that their homes sit atop unstable ground. The slow-motion quake is ongoing, not a one-time event. The new USGS findings make the threat personal and immediate. The fault is no longer abstract, it's a force that impacts daily life. Living here means living with a slow, relentless earthquake. The Concord Fault's steady march, a relentless geological process, is written in fractured concrete and warped infrastructure. It's a story told in every crack and bend, a testament to the Earth's power. A warehouse near the fault is literally being pulled apart. Cracked floors, sheared walls, constant repairs. It's a never-ending battle against the Earth's movement. Public infrastructure suffers too. Streets need frequent repaving, a costly and continuous undertaking. Pipelines are strained, constantly under pressure from the shifting ground. And BART tracks are closely monitored for misalignment, ensuring the safety of commuters. The cost of living with a creeping fault is paid by everyone, not just homeowners. It impacts our taxes, our infrastructure, and our daily lives. Scientists track these changes using historical photos and satellite data, piecing together the puzzle of the fault's behavior. Fence lines that were straight decades ago now bent, roads kinked, a visible record of the Earth's slow but steady movement. These measurements confirm the ground is moving, year after year. The data doesn't lie. The cumulative effect is dramatic. Several feet of offset in older structures and landscape features. A clear indication of the fault's power over time. This evidence is widespread, a continuous trail of deformation stretching for miles. It's a geological scar across the landscape. From cracked airport pavement to offset curbs in Walnut Creek, the fault leaves its mark everywhere. It's a constant reminder of the forces at play beneath our feet. Each feature is a piece of a larger puzzle. Each crack, each bend, each offset tells a story. Together they paint a clear picture. The ground beneath the East Bay is alive and moving, a dynamic landscape shaped by powerful forces. We've built our world directly on top of it, a testament to our ambition and perhaps our oversight. Scientists aren't trying to scare people. They're sharing data to help us prepare. Jesse Vermeer of the USGS says their new map gives city planners and residents the best information yet to mitigate risk. Roland Bergman of UC Berkeley warns that fault creep is a smoking gun, a sign the system is loaded, not safe. The scientific consensus, the Concord Green Valley fault system poses a significant, underestimated threat. The USGS's official forecast already gave the fault a 16% chance of a major quake in the next 30 years. New findings may push that higher. The challenge is communicating risk without panic. The message is to be aware and prepared, not afraid. Science empowers us to see the invisible and take action. The voices of these experts are a call to action. Respect the Earth's power and use knowledge to build resilience. The more we know, the safer we can be. Preparation, not fear, is the key. The Concord Fault is a primary threat, its location is the problem. Unlike remote faults, it cuts through the urban core of the East Bay, putting hundreds of thousands at risk. Scientists estimate it could produce a magnitude 6.8 to 7.1 earthquake comparable to the devastating 1989 Loma Prieta quake. The proximity to population centers means the impact could be even more severe. The new Madigan Avenue strand puts thousands more people and structures at risk of surface rupture. At least 2 schools are now known to be perilously close to the fault. Many buildings in the area predate modern seismic codes, making them especially vulnerable. The combination of a powerful nearby fault and older, fragile buildings is a recipe for disaster. The Concord Fault is not a secondary threat, it demands immediate attention. The risk is real, and it's right beneath our feet. The Concord Fault's silence is deceptive. The last major quake was in 1610. A long quiet period isn't reassuring. It often means the fault is overdue for a big release. Unlike faults that shake often, the Concord Fault's slow creep is easy to ignore, leading to dangerous complacency. The relationship between fault creep and big quakes is still debated. Does it reduce risk or signal a loaded system? Scientists don't have all the answers, which makes preparedness even more critical. Ongoing research using GPS, satellite radar, and paleoseismology is slowly revealing how these quiet faults behave. Each new discovery, like the Madigan Avenue strand, refines our understanding and hazard assessments. Science is a dynamic process, always evolving as new tools emerge. The uncertainty is part of the story. We must prepare for the worst, even as we hope for the best. The sleeping giant's silence is its most dangerous feature. What does this mean for you? Don't panic. Prepare. Awareness is the first step. Know your risk, check USGS maps, and understand your proximity to active faults. Review your earthquake preparedness plan, emergency kits, family communication, and safe meeting spots. Homeowners near the fault should consider seismic retrofits. Bolting foundations and bracing walls can save lives and property. City officials must update zoning laws, building codes, and emergency plans using the new data. Redrawing the Alquist Priolo zone is essential for safer future construction. Investing in infrastructure retrofits, bridges, overpasses, public buildings, will help withstand the inevitable shaking. We can't stop earthquakes, but we can reduce their impact. The Concord Fault is a reminder that the ground beneath us is always changing. Science gives us the tools to adapt and prepare. Living on a fault isn't a gamble if we take action. The sleeping giant may be stirring, but with knowledge and preparation,